We are going over DocuSign, obviously. So I want to show you how to get connected and how it integrates into Command and then what DocuSign looks like. So if you were with me last week, that's going to be a lot of the same stuff, but since it's new, there's never enough repeating. So I am going to go ahead and share the screen. All right, so I am in Command here, and if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I'm totally fine with that. So first and foremost, to essentially create / set up your account, you're going to start in Command. You're going to go up here to your name in the corner and choose Settings. It's going to take you to your application settings, and then you're going to need to connect with DocuSign. When you connect, it'll look like this: Connect Account. It will, there'll be a screen pop up. You'll put your email in there. It's going to send you an email for you to accept. Then you'll come back in here and click Authorize, and then it will link your accounts. We recommend you use your KW email or an email that you use every day. If you're on a team or a group and you have an email, you want to use that one. That way, that information is coming to you easily and quickly. And when you were hired or onboarded, if you use Scott Leroy Marketing, they would have initially set that email up for you, and it would be the email that is in your marketing profile in Command. So make sure that those match. That way there isn't any system issues with connecting. It is preferred, however, to use your KW email, but again, if that's not what everything is, then that's kind of silly. So once you get connected, this is what it'll look like, and this is the email that is your account is connected to. So going back to in an opportunity, when you start that transaction, it's going to create that room, which is the same as a loop in DocuSign. So quickly, sorry. I wanted to show you what DocuSign looks like. And so this is the home screen. Something you'll need to make note of is you have to go to realestate.docusign.com. And I'll put that in the chat real quick. Going to regular DocuSign will not work. When you try to log in, it won't work. realestate.docusign.com. So that is the website. If for some reason you would need to go to it externally, that is where you go. And you'll use your email that you signed up with as your username or login, and then your password, you create that when you set up your DocuSign account. So just some overview. This is a dashboard. This is the first thing you see when you log in externally. If you click Start a Transaction from an Opportunity, it's going to take you directly into that room, which is the same thing as a loop, and get you right in there, since that's kind of the whole point of the start the transaction portion. So these are the recently viewed rooms that you'll see here at the top. And then you'll have a list of new rooms. There's signing activity, so you can see where your forms are in the stage of completion. And then new document access. So this is just new documents that are added to them. And then you have messages over here. One thing I would like to note that, so you will have different accesses, like different form accesses. So you'll have Columbus Board of Realtors, you'll have Ohio Association of Realtor forms, and then you'll have Keller Williams forms. In order to have access to the OAR forms, you do need your NERDS number in here. If you do not know your NERDS number, let me know and I can send you the link or the website to look it up. But you do have to have them in there. So the biggest one is the COVID showing addendum. That one you will not have access to unless you have your NERDS number in here. So to do that, you're going to come over here and click on your initials or your photo, whichever you do or have. Then you're going to go to Preferences. And then you're going to click on, after it loads, Integrations. And you're going to scroll down to the NERDS ID information. So you'll put your number in there, or they have a little link to help you find it. Put your last name in there. Again, it has to match your license. And then you're validating against the Ohio Association of Realtors, which is, I believe, the 7th one from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now it's the 10th. They keep adding things. This is not in any alphabetical order. It does not make any sense whatsoever, but yeah, but that's where you associate with, and then you click Save Changes. And then that will give you the access. I probably get this email almost weekly from CAP Partners agents asking me where they're showing their COVID showing addendum is, and that's why you can't find it. You can in here update your profile if you want to add your photo, add any information. This will help. Oh, I'm not in Central Time Zone. That's how you change your time zone. Any information that you put in here will help filter into all of your rooms and opportunity paperwork, that kind of stuff. Any logos you can, and the help settings. Josh, I'll have to get with you on that and see what we need to do to get that your email fixed. If any of you, when you start up initially, if you have incorrect information or want something different, let me know, and I can work with support and get that changed for you. And there is a usage tab. This lets you kind of know how these are kind of your metrics for your room or your reports, like you would see in Doctor and Command. So that's just nice to have and see. So we're going to go over into across the top here. There's the dashboard, rooms, inbox, and then My Docs. So My Docs are, you can template your own forms. So if you would need them, they're in here. And then if you click over to forms, you would be able to see all the forms that we allow you access to. Just so you know, when you click on these from here, if you can see them, you can look at them, but they will have the sample across the back. So if you are wanting to print any forms, say you have an elderly couple as your clients, and them physically signing it is a better option for you than doing it via email. If they're not really tech savvy, then you would want to still create that room and print them from there, because if you print them from here, you will have a sample in the background and you don't want that. But you can view all of the forms in there, and they're all in there for you, commercial and residential. So I'm going to go into a room just so you can kind of see the layout, what it looks like, and how it's different from Dotloop. One thing I will like to note, the process of creating documents is a little bit different than Dotloop. There's what is all filtered into one area is separated in DocuSign. So that'll make a little bit more sense down the road. So here we have the details page of a room. So this is all of your information. So it's your client's name, your information, the property information, all of that. And the more information you put in your opportunity in Command, the more information that filters over into DocuSign. So having that property address, having your client's email in the contact already, that's gonna make this a lot quicker and smoother and less data entry on your part on this side. So if you take a look, some of them do have required information in there. Some of them don't. I can tell you, for anyone who's signing these forms, you need their name, their legal name, and their email address, because this is how it's sent, is via email, same as Dotloop. So all of the person information or people information, I don't know how, it doesn't sound grammatically correct, but we're going with it, is on the right hand side. So seller 1 and 2, and then as you scroll down, then listing agent 1 and 2, and then it goes down to buyer, so on and so forth. So any one person information is on the right-hand side, and it should, again, auto-populate your own information as whichever agent you are. And then again, any information that is in the opportunity will filter into this details page. As you scroll down here, the location page, this is, you know, the property in which that you guys are either buying or selling. There's address, county, and then as you scroll down, there's other things. These are not required, but it can help you later, like earnest money amount, closing dates, anything that's in a contract or a form. That information is helpful putting in here if you have it right then and there. If you don't worry about it, but it's just those required things you want to get in here. So the next tab is the Documents tab, and it will pull, this is basically the house of any documents that you've added to this room. You can create folders to better organize your documents, and these load in alphabetical order by the first word. So when you're adding documents in there, I'm going to try to find you a better room that has more documents. It'll go alphabetically, and unfortunately you cannot rearrange them. So it's kind of annoying, not going to lie, especially if you like things in a certain way, but there are loopholes to that. Let me see. Here we go. There's a good one. So when you have an original and a signed, they make multiple copies. Not 100% if .loop does that or not. But so the anti-fraud. So this blue one is the original form. The green one is the signed version. So if you would ever need to edit a document and have them, you know, re-sign or initial it, you have to edit the blue form. So those just things to be mindful of. That's a little bit different from .loop. And then it just, you know, again, is in alphabetical order. If you would want to change the name, or how I fold the system is put the like a letter in front of the name just to get them in the place that I want. So if I want this to be the first one, I'm going to put A. Save it, and then it moves up here. So that's just my tip that I actually learned from another agent to get them in the order that you want them to be in, because it runs alphabetically and it's not fun.
Is that alphanumeric as well? I mean, could you put in 001 then 002 to?
Yeah, yeah, I would assume so. Let's test her out, but yeah, if you would prefer numbers over letters. Yeah, yeah. So numerically and alphabetically, so whichever you prefer. And then to create another folder, if you would want to separate it that way as well, you can just come up here, or no, I'm sorry, it's actions, not add. Come up here to actions and click add folder, and it just creates another folder, and then you can drag them to that one. Folder 2, create it, and then you just click it and drag it up there. If it'll go. Well, it was working the other day. It's making a liar out of me. Move to folder 2. Wow, it doesn't like me today. One thing that is created is this certification document. This is for just credibility purposes of stating this is the timestamp and proof of when somebody signed these documents. Somebody had mentioned last week that if the title company or someone needs proof of date and time signed outside of the contract or the document itself, this is a good tool to use to just kind of back up the valuability of the date and signature. So that is those. The next tab here is people. These are essentially people that will default in every room that you have. You can invite people to have Joanne sign anything for broker reasons. You have to invite her into the room. Unfortunately, they don't default a broker in here. I'm so happy about that. Not really. It annoys me, but this is the way DocuSign rolls. So you just click invite and you put her email in there, first and last name, and then on transaction side, just whichever side you're on is the side she's on. And then the room roles. Okay, it's void. So, and then you just click invite. It'll send her an email to join a room. And then when you later go to add her for her signatures, you'll be able to check room people, and that will be how you get her on there. The fourth tab here is envelopes. I do like to note that you don't have to invite people you're having sign other than the broker into the room. So if you're the listing agent and you have your sellers, you don't have to invite them to the room. It will automatically populate because their information is in that details tab. There's just no broker in the details tab. So that's why Joanne's information would not automatically populate for you. So just to note that. Envelopes this is basically your holding area of these documents that you're sending. So think of it as a physical envelope. You're stuffing these envelopes with these documents to send to your clients. So here you can check the status of their signings. So when it's initially sent, it'll say that's in progress. It'll have their names, just like this, except for they won't be checked, and this will say needs to complete. But once it has signed, it puts the date and time on there just so you have that to see who has done it and where the progress is or where the holdup is. If you would need to resend it for any reason, this is already completed, so it won't let me, but you would be able to resend it here. And then you can also view documents of everyone of it's signed. Signatures there. So you can download and print them from here. You can also download and print them from the documents tab. So if you have any drafted ones, say you started adding forms and then you had to go do something and come back, it will save in here. So any envelopes you create, they will save whether you've sent them or not. And you can come back to them as you need. And then messages, if you send any messages to the room members, you can track that here. And then the history tab just gives you a timeline of when everything was created, if it's edited, and when they sign. So that history is there. I'll show you here in documents how you can download or print these forms. So to go back to my example earlier, if you had a client that wanted to physically sign it versus doing it on the computer, if you hover over it, you see this little circle in the corner, you just click on it and these buttons kind of populate at the top. So you can copy, there's move if you wanted to move it elsewhere, you can directly email that to someone. That's where you create your envelope. Here is download. You need to archive it. You can do that here, or you can unarchive it and then delete. There is the delete option, but you have to get permission from the Market Center for it to be deleted. That's just for safety purposes, that you're not deleting documents that we need to keep. And you can also filter your documents. You can do active documents only. All documents are archived documents. And then this is just filtering. Again, it's all alpha or numerical. So, all right. So quickly just show you how you would prepare your documents to send to the clients. So you would choose your forms. Let me send you two for And then you're going to click on the pen here. So when you create that opportunity, you started a transaction, and it pulls you up, it automatically creates this room for you, and you've added your documents. You want to pre-fill out any information. So if you wanted to fill in like the office exclusive waiver, those kind of forms, you're going to click on them here. You're going to click on them here, and then you can fill in any information here. So this is where the big change is from .loop to DocuSign. Is you pre-fill your information, then a couple steps later you add the signature and date tags if you need to. So that is the big change I've noticed, mostly from .loop to DocuSign. .loop, you do it all together. Here you edit first, pre-fill in that information first, then you later put your tags in. So you go ahead and fill out everything you need, and then save and close. And I'll go ahead and add that one as well. So I have clicked on the forms. Oh goodness. I want to sign. And then I'm going to go up here to create envelope, which is the little pen. It used to say DocuSign. I don't know why they changed it, but I guess that makes more sense because you go to the envelope first. So that's how you create an envelope each time. And then you're going to name your envelope whatever you prefer. If you want to do 1029 documents or 1029 DocuSign, this just gives you a better idea of who, what, when, where, why. But whatever works best for you. If you want to leave it, please DocuSign, that's fine. And then next is all the forms that you have selected to send in the envelope. And then as you scroll down, there's add recipient. You're going to click add recipient, and always use pre-tagged roles. Using pre-tagged roles gets all of your tags and dates for you. So you don't have to go in and put every initial box, every check box, these are templated for a reason. Don't do the work again. So when you use pre-tagged roles, it gets it all in there. So you're going to go, sorry, this is the owner one for this. Some of these forms, they're Columbus board forms, and we don't have any control over these, unfortunately. Are tagged as owner, and some of them are tagged as seller. They're essentially the same thing, but they don't read the same. So an owner tag is not going to filter in with the settings of a seller tag. So if it says owner and seller, make sure you check both. That way they are signing everything they need to. So you just check what you need, and then you come over here to the drop box to assign the appropriate person. I wish I had. I hate to use my same name twice. And then again, you'll see here in the broker portion there, it doesn't automatically pop up. That's just because they don't allot a broker in the details. So for that, if Joanne was already invited to the room, her information would be here. But since she's not, that's why it's not there. So once we're good, we got what we want, we're going to click add selected. What this does is I'm gonna change this just to make it a little more pleasing to the eyes as you guys go through this. So owner or seller is going to be Jane Doe, and then listing agent. And you need to be sure again that this name right here is how they would legally sign a document. So if their stuff is, if their name is Rebecca and they go by Becky, it needs to say Rebecca, just because for legal purposes, it's got to be their legal name, or however they sign it. Sorry. This office is motion censored and I don't move enough apparently. So we're going to put their name in there. Sorry, hold on, we got another chat. So we have a name in there. By default, they will go need to sign, but you can choose need to view, receive a copy, or specify a recipient. Just be mindful if they're just getting a copy, I would recommend review or receive the copy instead of needs to view, because that will hold up in the trail of things if they need to view it and they don't. The purpose of that is these numbers over here to the left are trigger numbers. So we're going to send it to Jane Doe first. She will receive it first. Number 2 will not receive these documents to sign until number 1 has signed and completed these documents. Where this is most beneficial is, for instance, a form that your broker needs to sign. Obviously, they can't sign it until everyone else has signed it. So numbering it so to ensure that they have everything, or if you're sending a copy to the other client, the buyer's agent, then you can put them as the third person and just receives the copy, but you don't want them to receive it until everybody signed it. So that is a good system to use to ensure that everything is done in order. But also in retrospect to that, you want to make sure your people are on top of it, because number 2 and number 3 won't receive it until number 1 and then number 2 completes it. So once we have that set up the way you want, and if you need to delete them, you can just hit X. Down here is the message to the recipients. So this is what will be sent in the email to your client. By default, it always says, please DocuSign. This is not required. But sometimes it's nice to have clarification on what this is. It is crystal clear, the email that they receive, on what it's for and stuff like that. But where it would be beneficial is if you are the listing agent, but your same clients are also working on buying a new house or building a new house, and you want to differentiate which property it is. That is, to me, the most beneficial. Or if you want to give a synopsis or whatever you want to put in there, you can, but it is not required. Once you're good with all of that, you're going to click next up here in the corner. And then this is where you're going to put all your tags. Since we did pre-tagged roles, this should auto-populate for us. As you can see, owner 1 and date, agent and date. Some things to note here. As you can tell, these are color-coded. Up here in the corner is how that's the key for those color codes. So my seller or owner 1 is yellow, and then the listing agent is blue. And as there's more, there's different colors. So if you would need to add or change anything, you want to be mindful of what color these are, because whatever color it is and that you choose to put on there, that's who's going to see that signature, not everyone. So when my seller goes to sign these forms, they're not going to see any of the listing agent stuff. So we just want to be mindful of what color that you're on, and you just click on the name to switch back and forth. You can delete these. I highly recommend, even with pre-tagged roles, to go through and make sure that everything is placed appropriately, and that if you need to add or delete a signature, a date, anything like that, especially like the purchase contract, there's a lot of instances where they're initialing one or the other, but because the way it's set up, it will tag everything that they could potentially have to sign or initial or date. So you will have to remove those at some point. Yes. Yeah. Sorry about that. So just to be mindful of those, and you can add, you just click and put them there. If you need to add, you can resize it if you want. The line here is where the signature will start, and then this little line here, you want to match up with the line that they're signing on. That is where the bottom of the signature will end. And then you can, again, just delete them as needed. biggest thing from .loop to DocuSign is .loop automatically put the date on there in timestamp. DocuSign does not. You have to physically add it if it's not there. If you need it and it's not there, you have to add it. Just adding the signature will not add the date. So you just go through your forms and figure out, like, this one was not tagged, so we just put it in there. Date. This is my client, or I'm sorry, signature, not date, and then date. And then everything looks good. And then you just click send, and they're sent. So that is front to back how that rolls. Do I have any questions? I know this is very brief. I'll go in a little more detail as the weeks progress, but I want to be able to get you guys rolling on this and see how it looks. Any big questions? Anything?
When are we switching over to DocuSign?
So that we're projected the end of the year, beginning of next year. We have had some discussion about still keeping .loop and not charging for it as of right now. So that is an opportunity. So it won't be required for you to switch to DocuSign, but that is the Keller Williams standard right now is DocuSign. So up to you ultimately on which one you would rather use. But as of right now, the projected date of availability for DocuSign is going to be end of the year, beginning next year. Any other questions?
Is there a way to import all your .loops into DocuSign?
Yeah, so you can import forms. So what you would do is under the document, you would just create rooms in here. You wouldn't have to do it through command, but you just come here to add and then go to your, you would have to download them from .loop and then import them into DocuSign, like by your computer.
Gotcha.
Just upload them manually.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, I will go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you all for coming. And if you think of any questions, let me know. And we're gonna continue to do this weekly just to get you guys familiar and kind of move around with it and get any questions answered that you have. So everybody have a good day.
Thanks, Rachel.
Absolutely. Bye.